Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores, and probably the greatest news I've ever presented as a Commanders fan, as a Commanders YouTuber, Redskins watching the football team, whatever you want to call it. Josh Harris and Dan Snyder, both parties have officially agreed to finalize the sale of the Commanders. Dan Snyder even came out with his own statement, so you know it's real, you know it's official. So of course we got to talk about all of that, how it went down, who are some of the owners that we already know, because remember, it's Josh Harris and 17 other people involved, including Magic Johnson, Mitchell Rails, and a couple other people that we know about. But now a nice list of more names have come out since the deal is finalized. We got to talk about that. Also, what's next? Because is there like a vote that comes up with the owners that's going to have to officially make this go all the way through officially? When can Josh Harris officially take over and like make changes? What are the stadium plans? All of that type of stuff. Of course, we got to talk about all of that and more. But before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get notification immediately. And every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one, make sure you pull up next Sunday, not this upcoming Sunday, but next Sunday for the call-in live stream show. We're going to talk about rookie mini camp, the official sale of the team. We can still talk about the draft some more. Again, it's a call-in show where y'all call in, you voice your opinions on whatever you want to talk about with a 3-minute timer. Also, make sure you stay tuned because all of the film sessions are on the way. I have my official source to get all 22 footage for all of the draft picks that the Commanders have made, and so now those film sessions are on the way. Get ready for that. And without further ado, let's get it.
You tell your family you're gonna be a Commander.
Alright, so DMV, Twitter, and really just everywhere, this is global, has officially broken since Adam Schefter tweeted at 4:16 p.m. the Washington Commanders and a partnership led by Josh Harris have entered into a purchase and sale agreement. It was jointly announced today. The purchase and sale agreement calls for Josh Harris and partners to acquire the Washington Commanders from the Snyder family. The agreement is subject to NFL approval as well as the satisfaction of customary closing conditions. So we know it's over. The Dan Snyder era is done, and we've been talking about this step for step for step, but this is the first time that it feels like official. Like this is the final. Dan Snyder has said, I have agreed to do it. Like at first there was like a slight agreement, like this is cool, but I'm still waiting for other bidders to potentially outbid y'all, but I'll agree to this off the record kind of thing. This is the first on the record. Dan Snyder says, yes, I will accept this deal officially. Now we're just waiting for it to be voted on again. We're going to get to that. Washington, D.C. The Washington Commanders and a partnership led by Josh Harris have entered into a purchase and sale agreement. It was jointly announced Friday, May 12th, today, 2023. We got to put the year on it because we're going to come back to times like these and celebrate again. And I just want to know, DMV area, man, when's the parade? Where's the parade? How we doing it? Tailgate, parade, everything. Like what's going on? Go-go bands, everybody outside having a good old time. Let me know. I'm going to have to make a trip from Atlanta to go party with y'all because this sounds crazy. This is a monumental thing, man. No other fan base deserves better than what we've been getting for the past pretty much my whole life. I was not allowed to see us at really any level of greatness. I missed all of the Super Bowls. I wasn't born yet. I guess the best season I've seen as a Redskins football team Commanders fan is the RG3 2012 season. That's about all I got. That's really about it. I mean, Mark Brunell down 13-0 with 4 minutes left, 5 minutes left, whatever. The Santana Moss went 14-13, and then I guess the Kirk Cousins, the Pierre Garçon, and Deshaun Jackson years. And we've had great players, but not necessarily great teams that made any real noise since Dan Snyder's been here, and basically my entire life. So I know everybody is ready to party, especially people like me who were not there for the glory days of the Commanders. I wasn't allowed to see a single RFK game, none of that. I missed everything. So this is beautiful, man. For my Georgia Bulldogs to win back-to-back championships, and then just a few months later, the Commanders have officially been sold from Dan Snyder to another party. And then this is a great part. I've already done videos breaking down why you're gonna love Josh Harris. I literally have a video that includes that, why you will love Josh Harris and everybody involved. But you can check that out if you want more details on that. But just know, we are going from one of the worst owners in sports history to one of the better ones. Josh Harris, I mean, just to give one example from that video, I give plenty, but he is not afraid to spend money. If you look at all of the leagues that he owns a team in, his coaching staff is like the highest paid. Like, he's not cutting any corners. He's not being stingy or nothing. If it's a guy that's worthy, he's willing to pay him. So if the NFL didn't have a salary cap, we could potentially be one of the best teams ever, because Josh Harris is not afraid to spend money. But there is a salary cap, so there's only so much he can control. But at least coaching staff wise and GM and stuff like that, we can get the best of the best, because this guy's willing to pay for the best of the best, like they are the best of the best. But Tanya and Dan Snyder came out with their statement. They said, quote, "We are very pleased to have reached an agreement for the sale of the Commanders franchise with Josh Harris, an area native." That's another thing too. Josh Harris and Mitchell Rales are both DMV guys, and his impressive group of partners, said Tanya and Dan Snyder. "We look forward to prompt completion of this transaction and to rooting for Josh Harris and the team in the coming years," unquote. And that's a nice thing for them to say, but I'm pretty sure they don't care. And then a statement from Josh Harris on behalf of the Harris ownership group, because again, it's a lot of people in there. There's people richer than Josh Harris involved, but Josh Harris is the guy that owns the most with 30%. Everybody else owns the other 70. Again, there are guys out there that are bigger billionaires than him that own less of the team, that are minority owners. It's a really interesting situation. But either way, on behalf of our entire ownership group, including Mitchell Rales, my longtime sports business partner, David Blitzer, and Irvin Magic Johnson, I want to express how excited we are to be considered by the NFL to be the next owners of the Washington Commanders, and how committed we are to delivering a championship caliber franchise for this city and its fan base. And again, even as somebody from Atlanta, it's easy to recognize that the DMV is a top 5 potentially sports city, like a market. Like it should be right there, right behind like New York and LA. It really should. It's just because the football team has just been mediocre at best for so long and bad for even longer, to the point that it just doesn't feel like it. But at the very least, DC should be a top 5, very least top 10 market in the entire country. And so this is just a sleeping giant, and I'm pretty sure that's why Josh Harris and all these guys wanted to invest, because if you can start winning on the football field and do things the right way off the football field, again, you can bring in crazy money. The history is there. That's why we're diehard fans, even though we've been so bad in such a pointless franchise for basically the last 20-30 years. Again, my entire life basically. I mean, again, it's just a sleeping giant. Once somebody takes care of this organization, this team, this area, this city, whatever you want to call it, it's up, man. It's really up. I mean, there's so much potential here, so I'm really excited about it, man. I really am. And then Josh Harris has an even longer statement, but we're not going to dive into that. If you want to read that, just go check out what he said. But also, Magic Johnson, of course, had to come out and weigh in on the breaking news. And of course, man, he's going to be a minority owner of the Washington Commanders. He said, quote, "I could not be more excited to be a partner in the proposed new ownership group for the Washington Commanders. Josh Harris has assembled an amazing group who share commitment to not only doing great things on the field, but to making a real impact in the DMV community. I'm so excited to get to work on executing our vision for the Commanders and our loyal fan base, man." I'm excited as well. I really am. This makes me more likely to go to games. I know a lot of people, not even just because the Commanders sucked, or again, at very best have been mediocre pretty much my entire life, but also some people, regardless of what we did on the field, would just straight up boycotting Dan Snyder. So now that Dan Snyder's gone, this fan base should be electric. It should return. We should finally have some home field advantage. We haven't had home field advantage in years for any real circumstance, honestly. Other teams come here and basically get an additional home game, and we almost play none. And again, I feel like a lot of it was just people strictly boycotting Dan Snyder. Now that he's gone, things should get really interesting as far as that goes. I'm really excited, man. Jason Wright even said it. This is the quickest we've sold season tickets and since I've been here, at the very least. And looking back through the books, it's been a long time since we've been able to sell season ticket accounts like this. I mean, we're pretty much selling out. Everybody wants back in. I mean, I'm assuming some of the people who may have switched to the Ravens briefly are probably coming back as well. Everybody's excited, even though the Ravens look like they're going to be really good, but we're finally a team you can root for with a straight face. Now, we still got to see it on the field, but at the very least off the field. Now, you can argue there's no way to go but up when you're at the bottom. But at the same time, man, I think Josh Harris and company are just that great anyway, to where it's just going to be night and day. It's not going to be like, well, it's not Dan Snyder, so it's just an automatic improvement just because of that. There's some of that as well, but I think Josh Harris and the company, all of those guys involved, this is going to be great, man. And then also statement from Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs loves this announcement. He said, quote, "I've had the opportunity to get to know Josh Harris and the leadership team during this process and fully support his efforts to lead the new ownership group of the Commanders. The NFL has grown a great deal since my time as a coach in this league, but what hasn't changed is my belief that with great leadership from the top, the drive to win on the field, and a commitment to culture, championship teams are created. Josh and his team share these values, and I'm committed to doing what I can to reconnect this great franchise to the community, fan base, and alumni." So again, Joe Gibbs is not a part of this ownership group. He's not a minority owner in any way, but he's willing to be back heavily involved in any way that he can help because he believes in Josh Harris and that group. So Joe Gibbs behind anything is automatically going to make other fans behind it as well. So I'm really excited about this, man. I really am. Also, among those involved in the group led by Josh Harris, you have Josh Harris, who owns the most percentage, highest percentage with 30%. Mitchell Rales is second. Then you have David Blitzer, you have Magic Johnson, Mark Ein, Lee Ainsley, I believe, Eric Holloman, Michael Lee, Mitchell Morgan and family, Santo Domingo family, Michael Sapir, Eric Schmidt, Andy Snyder, and others. And when I saw a person with the last name Snyder, I'm like, uh-oh. What does that mean? But I don't believe it's anything we need to worry about. But I saw that Snyder last name in there. I'm like, here we go again. There's no way we allowed another Snyder to infiltrate from the bottom. He's going to work his way up and eventually get the team back for Dan Snyder in some crazy way. Just some crazy conspiracy. But I know I'm not the only one that saw somebody with the last name Snyder as part of the minority owners group along with Josh Harris and think like, oh man, here we go again. Please no. But either way, I'm really excited, man. Ian Rappaport gave updates on the timing of the new info and everything. There will be an update to the owners in May at the league meeting. Either way, if it's not ready for a final vote, the owners will reconvene in the coming months for a vote. And of course, Mark Mass had a tweet as well. He said a potential approval vote by the owners is expected in the coming months, source says. The owners will be updated at their May 22nd and 23rd meeting in Minneapolis, but will not necessarily vote. Josh Harris's deal still must be approved by the NFL Finance Committee and then the owners. Josh Harris's deal still must go through the NFL approval process, first the Finance Committee, and then a vote of the owners. The Finance Committee raised some issues at its meeting Wednesday. That part of the process remains unaffected by the deal becoming signed and exclusive. So this may not be absolutely done to the point that Josh Harris can take over and start making changes and things like that just yet, as soon as people probably thought. But a lot of people are assuming that it will happen within the coming months, and I'm definitely hoping that it's done before the regular season starts, which a lot of people feel like it will. I was hoping that it would be done before training camp in July, and it's quite possible that that could happen, but at the very least, if it happens before the regular season starts, I'm extremely excited. We are 121 days away. That's why you're going to see in all of my thumbnails, I'm going to have a countdown in my logo leading up to the first day of the regular season. If any of y'all noticed that in my previous video and this video that you're probably watching right now, just if you were wondering what those numbers were, that's how many days we have until week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals, where we get our first dub of the 2023 season, the first dub under Josh Harris's new group and ownership. So of course, now we got to figure out what's next. First of all, we don't exactly know when Josh Harris will have complete control of the team. Like I said, I'm just hoping it's before the regular season. And when he does, it's been reported that he's trying to look into that RFK site, and now it's more likely to happen than it ever was under Dan Snyder. Virginia, DC, and Maryland were all basically like, nah, we're good. We don't want to have anything to do with Dan Snyder. And now that he sold the team, those 3 places are now even kind of outbidding each other for Josh Harris to potentially try to get a stadium there. The problem with RFK, though, remember, is that it's government owned. It's not owned by the city of DC just yet. And so the city of DC is basically trying to get that back so that they can use it in a way that Josh Harris can buy it and everything like that. Because right now there's some weird stipulations to where it can literally only be sports and recreation and maybe entertainment and stuff like that. But Josh Harris and company want to put like basically like a whole city around the stadium, like even places where people can live, like residential spots, like apartments or whatever, nice condos. They want to potentially put like stores there and all kinds of stuff. And right now, if they wanted to do that, the RFK site, they are not allowed to do that. Again, I did a whole video breaking that down as well. So if you want to look that up, go back and watch that video for all of the details and exact quotes on everything going on with that. But just know Josh Harris and company are interested in RFK. And even though it doesn't look very possible, it's far more possible than it ever was with Dan Snyder as the owner, because it was impossible with Dan Snyder. Now there's actually some hope and optimism. There's just a lot of hurdles we got to get over for the RFK site if we want it back in DC. And then, of course, I mean, a lot of people are talking about changing the name and the jerseys and everything. I highly doubt that happens. If it does, it won't be this year, so we'll see. Y'all know I'm a big Red Wolves fan, but I mean, the name doesn't matter that much to me. I care way more about how well we win, like how many games we win a season, going to the playoffs, competing for a Super Bowl, that type of stuff. I care about that way more than the name. I really could care less about the name, honestly. I prefer Red Wolves, but it's really not that serious. If we're the Commanders for the rest of my life, I'm not upset. But one thing I would be mad about is if we change the jerseys and it's worse than what we currently have. I'd like the jerseys. I care way more about the jerseys and the colors than the name. So I'm afraid of them meddling with it. At this point, Commanders is alright. I'll take it. I don't like the name. I'm not saying I like Commanders, but at this point I don't care enough. But if I gotta risk getting a better name and it potentially resulting in us ending up with a worse jersey set and worse colors, I don't think it's worth it. I'll just stay Commanders with good jerseys rather than a good name with bad jerseys. I'm not gonna lie. And I love Red Wolves, but even if they change the Red Wolves, I'm not exactly sure if they would get the jerseys right. And I feel like they got these jerseys right for the most part, so I'm scared to risk it. That's just me personally, but you never know. Again, I highly doubt they go through a rebrand, changing the name and all of that anytime soon. That won't be within a year at the very least, maybe even more than that. You may have to wait until we're ready to move into that next stadium. FedEx Field lease ends in 2027, but they can always extend it if they have to. So if Josh Harris and that group, Jason Wright and all of those guys are unable to secure the next stadium, have it built and ready by 2027, if they have to, we can just continue to play in Landover for a little while longer past 2027. So basically, just assume that no major changes stadium-wise, branding-wise will probably happen until then. But we'll see. Maybe they change the brand, the name, the colors and all of that before we move into that next stadium. Who knows? We'll see. But I'm really excited, man. Just times are changing. Great things are coming. I'm really excited, man. I'm telling you, everybody is celebrating right now, which is making it even more fun. The fact that everybody is basically unanimously excited about this. And again, I'm telling y'all, did a whole video on it. Y'all are gonna love Josh Harris and that group. Even if anything, all of the money that those guys are putting behind it, and then you have Magic Johnson as the guy that's gonna do all of the talking, and the way that he talks and the things he says is definitely gonna make the fan base return and ride for this group, especially Joe Gibbs being a big positive mentor and help towards it and everything, being a positive face and figure along with Magic Johnson. That two-headed monster right there alone can reignite this fan base. And then we have Eric Bieniemy as an offensive coordinator. We have this new draft class. Sam Howell is the quarterback, and he's going to be fun to watch. I just can't wait, man. I think this is the year where we start to really feel ourselves again. Are we Super Bowl contenders? Not sure yet, but we should be a happy fan base at the very least, and maybe actually have a few home games this season. Now, I don't exactly expect us to step up to the plate and dominate the stadium and FedEx Field just yet against like dominant fan bases that have been consistent, like the Cowboys and the Eagles have been great lately and stuff like that. But against other teams, like the lesser teams in the NFL, we should definitely at least have home field advantage against them, I'm assuming. And then eventually we should have home field advantage if we go out there this season and dominate, or at the very least make the playoffs, win like a playoff game or two, and look like real Super Bowl contenders, and provide a team that this fan base can really rally behind. Who knows? Maybe we can have home field advantage all 2024 season and beyond. But I don't exactly see that happening in 2023. You're still going to have to convince some people. Some people still may not be sold on everything just yet. Again, like I said, a lot of people are probably returning just because Dan Snyder's gone. But there are probably a lot of people who are like, Dan Snyder has to go and we got to start winning for me to go back to games. And then once we start doing that, I feel like we have a good chance of doing that this season as well. I think 2024, the stadium is finally going to look like how a lot of people feel like it's going to look this year. Just to warn you, it may not happen immediately, but I think this fan base is coming back in a strong way. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section, let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please leave a like on this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. Really excited, man. Joe Gibbs and Magic Johnson as the faces, Josh Harris is the majority owner. Technically he's the guy that owns the most, and then also all these other guys included that are just super billionaires from different countries to Colombia, all kinds of stuff. This is crazy. I'm excited. Again, let me know how you feel about the situation. I'm pretty sure y'all are excited, so let me know how you're gonna celebrate the situation. Again, let me know DMV area what y'all are gonna do, a parade, a whole Mardi Gras, like what's going on. I gotta know. Big tailgate, go-go bands, everything, fireworks, let me know. And of course, man, I appreciate all the support, man. Please leave a like on this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. And of course, shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, names you scrolling on the screen right now. Again, all channel members are going to get the 30-minute to an hour, probably even longer than that, film sessions for a lot of these prospects. No ads, because you're a channel member. You're already paying to be a channel member to sponsor the channel. Why would I put ads in y'all film sessions that are exclusive to y'all? Everybody else is going to get like a 5 to 8 quick little film session for each draft pick and maybe some undrafted free agents, whereas channel members are going to get the whole thing unedited, like literally my whole hour. So make sure y'all stay tuned. Go become a channel member if you haven't already. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.